Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Longplay Club. This is your singular episode dedicated to the entirety of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. We're back at it, continuing the Metal Gear saga. I'm your host today, Christian Buckley, codenamed Scorpion, joined by my fellow twin Scorpion, Kevin Diaz.
Greetings. How we doing? Look at us, the twin Scorpions, the 4K remaster. You know what I'm saying? PS5,
Now,
PS4 cross-gen game.
right above him on the set, we have Jack Martin, codename Eagle.
It is good to be back. It feels like it's been forever since Metal Gear Solid 4. So,
Yeah,
very excited to talk about this game in particular.
absolutely. There's plenty of reasons to be excited about Peace Walker today. And rounding out the panel, as always, we have codename Pig, Omar Nakami.
Wait, what'd you call me? Try that one
I
more
didn't call you
time.
that. Kojima called you that. Codename
Ah,
Pig.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I feel like I should put this out here before the episode starts that I did not. I don't know what happened with Peace Walker. I didn't play it. I'm just here to hang out. I hope you guys will have me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's almost better because now it's really put to the test. Like, are we going to be able to convey the story to you? Which I think we are going to be able to.
Okay.
Which is, I think, one of the benefits of this game. Like, it's not like that crazy of a story, which I liked. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Omar, from what I remember, you have at least gone watched the story. So you I feel like you at least know the gist of it, and if anything, you can always be the question asker, guiding us into what you want to know.
True.
Sure. I definitely know some beats. I think I went through this before 5 came out, but
Yeah.
can't remember too much.
So, honestly,
I feel like 80% of the people who played Metal Gear Solid 5 watched the the movie of this on YouTube, and it was like, yep,
Yeah.
that's Peace Walker, all right.
why don't we start there? Because we normally kick off with our experience with the game we're playing, right? Because many of us are returning to the series. Jack, I did exactly what you just said, leading up to Metal Gear Solid 5. I've said it for every game so far, but I did play 1, 2, 3 the week before, and then I ended up watching Peace Walker because I was intimidated. I thought it was going to be super long. Apparently it's not too long, but I did watch the cutscenes back in the day. I played it this time around on PS3 in the collection. I did enjoy the story a lot when I watched it originally. This time I played about 8 hours of it. I got really sidetracked on the mother base stuff because that I think is very addicting. So I ended up watching the remaining cutscenes this time around, and I intend on finishing it. So I'll have a little asterisk on my rankings as we go through this. But Kevin, I know you have no history of Peace Walker, but you knew something about Peace Walker going into this playthrough, right?
Yeah, so I did know that it was regarded very, very highly. One Greg Miller, favorite game I think of his before God of War came out in 2018. So I did know that, but I really tried to separate that and try to make my own, opinion. Spoiler alert, it's very similar to that opinion that I heard from Greg and everything, and heard from other people as well. But yeah, I remember, seeing this on the PSP store as well, back in the day as a kid and everything, I think. But I, once again, knew very little of it. I just knew the name and everything.
Sure.
And yeah, I did always thought the peace iconography was really cool, and definitely like the way they use peace in this game is a really, really cool way. Obviously blending into the time period that this takes place in, and just how they use peace in this is, I think, so cool. So I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. And just that iconography, we'll get into it for sure, but it is very strong with the game, I think. And I remember this was almost, I think, maybe my first Metal Gear, because I was looking for PSPs around the time this came out, and there was this great package. It was Peace Walker and a real nice green PSP 3000. I almost got it. I did not. And then I ended up playing Portable Ops at some point, and I was like, let me play the original Metal Gear. But
yeah. Oh, also side note, I guess I should say what I played on. I did play it on my Vita, right? Although, damn, I did look at the PS3 gameplay of this game, and that one looks good. But I'm glad that I played it in the format that it was intended to. Not really, because PSP, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy the way I played it. But God, that PhD version looks really good. Really good.
Jack, what is your history of Peace Walker, and how did you play it this time around?
Yeah, so similar to what you did, Christian, around like 2013 or 14, I played through the whole series via the Legacy Collection, which is how I played Peace Walker this go around. Except I was playing Peace Walker back then, and I got to the point where the game requires you to like go to Mother Base and like build C4, and I was like, I don't really want to do that. My stupid adolescent high school mind was like, I don't want to build up Mother Base. How stupid I was. But this is and then I watched the like movie version of it on YouTube. But yeah, this is the first time I actually like played through the game to completion. So yeah, it was really nice to actually like go through and touch the sticks for the first time, really, and just make my way through. And I played this on PS3.
Nice.
How long did it take you to beat it, Jack? Since I think we're the only two that beat the game here. Yeah.
So I don't think I screenshotted like the final screen or whatever, or even if there was one. I think it probably took me around 17 to 18 hours to beat.
Yeah.
How about you?
It only, I mean, like, easy place to see it is the save file. When you load into your save file, it has the time on there. I think I'm around like 17 too, like 16 or 17. So we're around the same ballpark for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this and 4 were about the same length for me.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Omar, I know you didn't get your hands on it recently, but what is your history with Peace Walker? Like, because I think Jack was correct. Like, you do have a history with it.
Yeah, so remember that PSP I showed off last week or whenever that was?
Mm-hmm.
I went looking to see if I had my Peace Walker save from like 2010 still, and my PSP was filled with Japanese Peace Walker saves.
Oh.
If you get maybe what happened there, game came out a week early in Japan. PSPs were crazy.
I see.
So I think I played some of it like that, and then I think I did pick. I have a copy of it, and I tried playing it. Honestly, like portably. Like I remember, like there was a field trip to a museum in 6th grade. I remember struggling on a boss fight, playing that game on a PSP on that bus. But otherwise, yeah, I got stuck at that boss fight, and I just never kind of went back to it. And for some reason, I kind of still haven't gone back. I don't know.
Was it the PSP Go?
No, I have the red PSP as well, the Kratos one, the God of War bundle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Did you have that one?
That. My little brother had that God of War one. Yeah. But like I was gonna say, the patented definitive way is, no, it's not. It's still the Vita. Then we'll go PSP Go right under there, and then we'll go PSP. You know what I'm saying? But
is it really definitive if the right analog stick does nothing?
Listen, man. Listen, probably not. You're right. I can't even defend that. But
Yeah.
I actually found it to not be that bad. Maybe I just got used to it. Could be that, right? Because 17 hours, you're gonna eventually get used to it. But other than like making some like precise aiming cases with like a sniper or like an AR or whatever, but like overall, I found it to be not the worst thing in the world.
Sure. Well, why don't we get into the gameplay then? Because this is following up Metal Gear Solid 4 release-wise. We will get to the story, but we are picking up with Big Boss. Not really many carryovers from Snake Eater in terms of gameplay influence here. I definitely think it's more so 4, and we'll talk about this later, but elements here lay the groundwork for future games. But the game, like Kevin said, released on the PSP, so the PSP does have an interesting control scheme for a 3D world. The face buttons, I believe, use the camera for
your
maneuvering
look.
that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
luckily the PS3 version does allow right analog stick control. I think it's a huge improvement over Snake Eater, which I feel like comparing this game more to Snake Eater than 4, just because maybe it's Big Boss and that's why I'm doing that. But Jack, you also played on PS3. Control wise, how did you feel moving from 4 and to some extent Snake Eater to this one?
Yeah, so I feel like Peace Walker controls very well, mostly because it's very simplified, I feel. And I feel like playing on PS3 gives you a very big advantage. Because Kevin was mentioning, like, there's some instances where you have to be a little bit more accurate. And I feel like having the dual analog stick on the DualShock really gives you an advantage because I found almost no difficulty in the moment to moment go through the environments. There's like maybe 3 to 5 guards in these areas and just trank them and then they're gone. I found that to be maybe a little too easy, but at the end of the day, I found it to be super fun because it wasn't just tranking them and moving on. It was analyzing them and seeing if they're a good fit for Mother Base. At the beginning, just sort of getting as many people as you can and then sort of weeding them out as you go along. Be like, oh, I need a C rank. I need a B rank. I need to fill up my R&D team or the mess hall team, that sort of thing. So it ended up being a little bit more complex than just aim and shoot at these dudes in the woods, which was really easy. It was all of the stuff surrounding that gameplay that really made it feel completely unique to any other Metal Gear game. So I feel like at the time this was released, I feel like this was a really great, unique Metal Gear.
Yeah, and I'll completely co-sign everything that you just said. My only thing I don't love about the way the game plays is that there's no prone crawl, which was an element in definitely 4, and I think it was in 3. It's definitely in 1 and 2 as well. But yeah, that was a big problem.
Yeah,
that I
definitely.
It bothered me, you know, especially when I was trying to be stealthy in some certain areas and laying down, crouching, crouch walking, which glad this crouch walking, but I would have liked it if I could have just done a prone crawl here or there. That would have been nice. But
Yeah, like I think that's also the one gameplay aspect, like comparing it to like the console ones that we played in the past. That is definitely like the biggest, like thing that is not in the game. But hey, I had crouch walk. I made it work. I would have rather not had prone crawl than negated crouch walk and like Snake Eater, which was wild to me. You know what I'm saying? Which I think felt way more not chaotic, but like way more broken in terms of gameplay, like without having that crouch walk. So at least you had crouch walk, but I definitely feel you. And like, yeah, like it was weird to have just the prone just be like you're just prone, like you can't move there. Very much like just hiding. That's essentially what it is. But I'm glad we had crouch walk. So yeah,
and
I'm with you on that.
Was this the first instance where maybe I'm misremembering because it's been like a week since I beat it? The left and right triggers have always been your like support and main weapon like sort of inventories. Is that changed in this one, or am I getting ahead of myself?
I think I remember it is because wait, if I remember, it's the left and right D-pad for
Yeah.
like you hold the left and then scroll with square and O to do your weapons, and then you do the right. You hold the you hold the right D-pad for your weapons and your different equipment that's more like lethal, and then your left D-pad is for like the Fulton recovery system, your rations, and like your items and everything. And you scroll with square and O, at least on Vita and PSP.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right. The new what was new about this one was how mission based it was and just sort of gearing up before each particular mission and limiting yourself to the equipment you need. I think you can only carry like 2 guns. And then
actually that depends.
Well, it depends on what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But when you start off, you can only carry 2 guns and have like different equipment and then support items. So I feel like that's one of the bigger. Like it feels like this game starts with a clean slate in a lot of ways in terms of gameplay, where like I feel like this is a totally different approach to the more linear aspects of Metal Gear previously. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, and I think it's really great too as somebody who's like returning as well, because I think there are elements of 4 in here, like the ring is helpful, and the crouch walk is nice, and just the way you maneuver in a 3D Metal Gear, I think it takes notes from that. But what it does to reestablish it in terms of that like system and the flow of the mission-based structure and all that stuff, it does make it very addicting, and I think helped. We talked a lot about this with Metal Gear Solid 3, like that game sort of putting the series on a path that wasn't amazing. I think the choices made in Peace Walker also put the series on a path that I think was probably a lot better than the path we were on with Snake Eater. But yeah, as far as how we interact with the game, I really, really love how Peace Walker plays. It's a great game control-wise, considering it was developed for a PSP with only 2 triggers and 1 analog stick. So
Yeah, that's what I had to remember playing on a PS3, because there were some parts where I was like, oh, this feels a little simple, but at the end of the day, you're right. This was made for a handheld device, and I just so happened to be playing it on a PS3. But yeah, with that in mind, it's pretty incredible that this is a portable game, and
sure.
I feel like they nail that in a lot of aspects.
That's, I think, my biggest takeaway, with Peace Walker is that, like, I'm still blown away at, like, how console it feels, like, in like, the very truest sense. Like, it really does, like, gameplay-wise, other than you not being able to prone crawl, it, for all intents and purposes, like, really does feel like a console Metal Gear Solid. Like, it's I think they did a really, really good job at that. There's some cases where, like, yeah, if you stand far away from an enemy, they still won't see you, even though you're clear as day. You can be just in the middle of the street, and if they're just at a certain point, they still won't spot you and everything. Like, just stuff like that reminds you that it's handheld, and definitely, which we will get to, like, some of the boss fights, you definitely feel like you're on the PSP, and you definitely feel like you're on the Vita in terms of just, like, controls, where sometimes, like, you just cannot make actions that you want to make very quickly, and that might, result in you taking damage and everything. But I think this game really does play really, really great, and, like, that is just, it really does hold up. I feel like it holds up 100%. Like I really, really enjoyed it. I think overall, like, the other kind of game that I played recently on PSP that was a PSP game that like felt console-esque in a way that gets close to it was Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, and like I felt like that one was a little bit more handheld gamey as opposed to this, where, like, I think this is like a whole different level, right? And, like, I forgot which one launched first or whatever. I don't know which one came out first, but it's a similar structure of, like, stages and missions and everything. But I think it plays better here in Peace Walker for sure. So definitely holds up.
So go ahead, Omar.
I remember exactly where this game was enough for me, and I'm wondering if
Do tell.
yeah, okay, so I was I don't know, 12 or something when I played this, so pretty bad game. I'm not a great gamer now, but I probably maybe could have done this now. But I think it was the Zeke fight. Is it, like, kind of early on, or, like,
No,
no?
Zeke's at the very end.
no,
Zeke's at the very end?
Yeah, Zeke's at, like,
All right.
yeah,
Are you?
What
You might be
Metal
talking
Gear-
about the
one
one.
of the yeah.
With,
He's,
Huey. Huey's, like, guiding you through it.
is it the big, like, you're in, like, an arena type?
Yes, totally.
That's okay.
What one's that? Do you know?
That
Yeah.
I forgot what that one's called, but
Okay.
that is also the mission where I'm like, fuck, like,
Okay.
this. Yeah, it's every boss fight from there on out. It's like, oof, like, I kind of wish I had, like, a dual shock or like a dual sense to control this, because I feel you. I definitely feel that. Yeah, for sure.
Are there, like, more, with all the building the base up, are there, like, more RPG mechanics in there too, where, like, I feel like I dropped the game because I was like, man, I must be underleveled or something, or, like, not underleveled, but, like, not have enough resources at that point?
So
to get through that?
That's where I was like getting lost with my
Okay.
time. Like I was getting too
Yeah.
invested with that stuff, and I do think it will absolutely be a benefit to you. But I was just like, it's satisfying to see the numbers go up, to see the bars go up, because but depending on how you're playing, what you're accruing in your missions, like you can choose to. I think it's GMP is like the
Yeah.
currency.
GMP, yeah.
You can invest that into R&D, a bunch of other different categories, and based on what you invest in, it will reward you with, I think, like new items, new tech, new weapons, and stuff like that as you progress. So like, if you invest in that, you'll already have better gear to bring into missions, so you will have an easier time. But you only have a certain amount of GMP that you can spend based on what you're doing. So I imagine you could grind it. I was absolutely taking like my time going through missions. I like really combing through, trying to like make sure I was thorough, and that's why I took so long with it. But yeah, I would say in a sense there's definitely an RPG-esque progression here through that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, I do want to ask the panel, like, I think we should all kind of run down. I think Jack already did like a little bit, but like, how did we go about building up our mother base, right? Because like, I got the analyzer, right, and yeah, I was doing like a little bit of that early on, where I was scanning different enemies and seeing like their rank and all that, and doing all that. But at a certain point, it's like, you know what? I'm with Miller. We're a nice, Silicon Valley like startup, right? So let's just get anybody. Let's just get everyone, and let's try and just do like a mass just hiring spree. Let's just build up mother base as fast as possible. So I was just doing that, where like I think level 1 Fulton, you only have like I think 8, and then level 2 I think you have more and stuff like that. So um uh I would just go into missions, do it, and like I would knock out homies and bring them up to my mother base, and not even regarding what their stats were till I got to mother base. There is like a auto assign, which is really nice, but I felt like the auto assign wasn't giving me the results that I wanted, because I kind of want to just raise mother base um, in a very kind of flat level, and just have everyone rise up, like from medical to food to R&D to combat and everything, intel as well. But I always had more of a higher level in R&D than anything else, for sure, because that's what you really want to do to get those new weapons and items to help you be better in missions going forward. But I really love the mother base stuff. I really loved it. Like that's it's is probably like my second favorite thing about the game, to be honest with you. Like it really connected with me. I did want to ask Christian this. Like, it kind of scratched like a Animal Crossing type vibe, of just like organizing and like, just being the head of like this facility and everything. Like it scratched a similar itch that Animal Crossing does, of like just making choices in a given area, for a group of people. Like, I don't know, like that's kind of like a long stretch there, but I really had that takeaway, and I really loved it for sure. But
Yeah.
what did everyone else think? Yeah.
I was definitely a little more choosy, like Jack was saying, about like really analyzing and making sure like, okay, who are you? What will you do for me? But yeah, my mother base progression didn't get super far yet, but I do really like the system. I think it's interesting here. I like that you can allocate it to different departments, which will benefit you in different ways.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like a first stab at it in certain ways. Like, I wish it was a little more clear in certain ways of like rewards, like rate of return on investment for what you're spending your points into. Because at some points I was like, I was mostly doing R&D because I was like, okay, I imagine that'll get me cooler gear, and I wasn't really going in on medical or anything like that. I was mainly focusing on one thing because I wasn't really sure how much of a downside it would be to spread it all out early on when I was very strapped for GMP. But
Yeah. Like at a certain point, like I tried the auto assign like once and I didn't like the outcome, so I was just looking at whoever was in the waiting room and what was your highest stat? Okay, you're the best at intel, you're going to intelligence, etc. And that's how I did it. But I do feel you on like, I'm not entirely sure what intelligence did for me. I think it gave me access to better like radar items and stuff like that, but I'm not entirely sure about that. I think like the food department just kept everyone fed, and like I know like there's a percentage of like food that you have, and mine was always like in like the 130%, 150%. So I wasn't really like sure like how beneficial that was, and like if I need to keep putting people that were good at food there, if it's already over 100% and different stuff like that. So I feel you on like it wasn't entirely clear on like you were what like the benefits would be, and even in like R&D where like the main department where you really want to be investing in all that, like I wish that it wasn't like a random factor of like, oh, okay, like eventually you got to level X here in R&D. Here's level 2 of Fulton. Like I kind of wish I knew what I was working towards, for sure. Like I think that would have been super cool to see what you could develop in the future if you keep putting into R&D. But yeah, I hear you on like it feels like a first go at it for sure.
Yeah, I think in theory, Mother Base is a really great idea in this game, and in practice, in a lot of ways, it's cool. But the one complaint I had about it was I didn't feel like the enemies that you were trying to pick up really leveled with you all that much. Because at a certain point, you get like you're starting to progress, like you're getting soldiers that have like D ranks and then C ranks, but towards the end of the game, I still had people that were C ranked. So it seemed like maybe I didn't play enough side ops or something like that, but I was mostly doing Golden Path stuff. But I wasn't getting the higher ranked levels that I was anticipating from the soldiers. So it was more of a slow burn in building up Mother Base. And I think that could work over the course of a longer game. But with this being only a 17-hour game, I feel like I wanted to have a better grasp on building Mother Base than I actually did in this game. But still, I really like the idea of putting soldiers in your base, taking them from an enemy unit, and like sort of being like, "Hey, you can work for us now," and then
Fight for peace.
yeah, using their talents and then using them to build new weapons and stuff like that. I found like what you guys are saying, R&D is probably the most useful one. Some of them like kind of just fade into the background. I wish each department in this had a little bit more to do. But like what Christian said, I think it was a good first attempt at Mother Base, and some of it is really great. Some of it I wish could be improved.
Yeah, like I mean, when you send someone up to Mother Base and like you get back after the mission and it's like, oh, he was sent to not the like torture room, but like let's call it like rehabilitation. Like yeah, like they like need to be like convinced more. I thought that was so cool. Like the way they gave like little narratives to the people that are in Mother Base, or like I sent out Team A to do a mission via the combat unit stuff, and like he came back injured, so he's in the sick bay. Like stuff like that. I thought was super cool. Some of my homies died. That was unfortunate, but
Like Assassin's Creed, bro.
did nice little, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, like I feel like I don't know, like I think it would have been kind of cool, but also now I think about it, it might be really stupid, I think. But like if every unit had like a side activity that you could send that department to do to get better stats, like the combat unit where you can send them on different ops around the world and stuff like that. And like I don't know, like I guess you could send the cooking department to like, I don't know, Hell's Kitchen or something like that, and like that sounds kind of dumb, but like I think the way they did it with the combat unit is super just passive and just hey, it's just means to up the stats of not only the combat unit and those that go on missions, but you get rewarded. Sometimes they bring back other people and everything through like I think word of mouth. They were saying some people came to Mother Base and everything. So I'm more positive on it, but like there were definitely aspects of like I wish it was a little bit more in depth, but very, very good first crack for sure.
So,
yeah.
wrapping up on gameplay, I want to ask you, Jack, this question. I feel like in many cases, games developed for limited hardware with grand ambition can be really, really great and stand out among like other games on that console. Like the PS1, like the original Resident Evil. I think the choice to use fixed camera angles does so much for that game to make it scarier than almost any other PS1 game. And they're able to flesh it out. They're able to have these really detailed environments and all these things because of that choice. I think in a similar way, Peace Walker, being constrained by the PSP, made a lot of choices that we've just gone over that really make it a standout PSP game. But playing it on the PS3, were you as impressed playing it the way you did, or was it a lot of just like, wow, I can't believe this was on the PSP?
A lot of it was being impressed by the fact that this was a handheld game that translates fairly well to the PS3,
Sure.
into a console setting. And, you know, obviously instantly you're making those comparisons to past Metal Gear games. And for me, this was my first portable Metal Gear game. I know Portable Ops, it came before this. I know that's also like not really canon because Kojima didn't work on it in the same capacity he did with this game. But I feel like this holds up well as a Metal Gear game in general, and I'm impressed mostly by the fact that this is a portable game. Like I said earlier, though, I think there are a lot of instances, mostly in like the transitioning from area to area where you're just taking out guards, that was just super easy, and I think on the whole, this is probably the easiest Metal Gear game in my opinion. Save for the boss fights, which continues the trend of just having bad boss fights, in my opinion. There are some interesting aspects where, like you're shooting the weak points and stuff. I don't feel like that's anything new, but that was new to Metal Gear at least. And there were no distracting bad villains. But I'm still of the opinion at this point, going through this long play club, that Metal Gear Solid 1 really is only the game that has the best standout boss fights. But on the whole, I think this is a very impressive portable game, and I honestly feel like it kind of supersedes the PlayStation portable in a lot of ways. It's just a good Metal Gear game.
Sure.
Did you feel like the bosses are like bullet spongy in a way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because of like this game's like a 4-player co-op game too? Which do you think some of that is like it's built around like that kind of grind or something?
Yeah,
Or-
I could see that because like those
Yeah.
are the instances where you would really want to play with friends, because I can't see myself wanting to play with friends going from jungle area to jungle area because it's already easy enough as it is on the console. But I think it's the difficulty ramps up like enormously in those sections. So I think you're on something with that.
So I did a little bit of research before coming into this episode about like the history of the game, and there were a few really interesting things I wanted to bring up. So Kojima originally wasn't gonna direct the game. He like did an outline for it, and he thought it was going to be too confusing for people, so he wanted to come in and make sure it was pretty straightforward and not confusing. So he wrote it, produced it, directed it when it started going into development. And the reason he wanted to not be complex is because for some reason Konami wanted this game to appeal to like high schoolers and younger people, and that's why it had like the imagery it does, the yellows, the colorful stuff. They wanted to make it very poppy, like the music as well, the era, all of that stuff was because they wanted to market it at younger people in Japan. And at the same time, you know, PSP, we're talking about co-op, right? What was the biggest PSP co-op game in Japan in the late
Monster
2000s?
Hunter.
Monster Hunter, exactly.
Yes, sir.
So it's a Metal Gear version of a Monster Hunter. That's what this game is in terms of its multiplayer, its co-op, its boss fights, targeting
It's
specific
Monster Hunter.
areas, the
Holy
bullet
shit.
spongy bosses. There's even Monster Hunter crossover stuff in here. Like there's stuff with a Palico in there, the little cat guy. You can fight a Rathian. You can fight like a monster version of Metal Gear Rex. Like, there's tons of Monster Hunter crossover in here, and I think it's very strange.
That doesn't make sense in the canon.
It doesn't.
How does that happen?
It's very strange, but I think that layer of the game, none of us really experienced that because we didn't play this in co-op, but it's just very interesting that they were going for that structure and they made it still feel like it's a Metal Gear Solid game, with the exception of some bullet spongy bosses, apparently.
Damn, I never thought about the connection, but yeah, no, that totally checks out. Yeah. I guess I never thought about like the boss fights like being, and I don't know why I didn't think about it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, those are essentially like Monster Hunter type fights, right? Like more, I mean, you know, not directly because obviously this game I feel like it's inspired low-key by Monster Hunter, but like Horizon, you know, when you're fighting like a huge machine in Horizon or whatever, like that similar dynamic. Yeah, I totally didn't even think about that. Good stuff, Christian. Good stuff.
And there's like even in the menu, because I knew about the crossover before I played the game, right? But at the beginning of the game, when you're picking settings and stuff, one of the control scheme options, at least on PS3, gives you the option of Monster Hunter controls. So
does it say Monster Hunter?
It does, yeah. It says like Monster Hunter style. So
wow,
is that the claw?
I think so, yeah.
Thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
man.
So why don't we touch on the story briefly, because I think it's a pretty straightforward story, but
can I ask one question before we dive into this?
Sure.
Absolutely.
About canon and stuff. Do they ever like? I've seen screenshots of this game and it's like 4 naked snakes walking around. Do they ever try to explain that within the canon? Well, sure, but do they do something? Do they try? They don't have to, but okay.
Probably not. Fuck it.
Okay, it'd be funny.
It's that Metal Gear Survive wormhole.
True.
Okay, sure.
There you go.
Yeah. Or it's like in Halo where everyone, if your co-op plays, has 2 Master Chiefs or 2 Arbiters.
Right.
Also, a quick thing that's like about like the game itself, like whatever. Yeah, like the game itself. I had the option, which I don't know if it's on PS3 version. You guys let me know. I had the option to opt out of a data install for like VO during cutscenes and all that, which I thought was very interesting because like I don't see why you wouldn't do that, to be honest. But like I guess if you don't have space for that, you can get no voice acting in the cutscenes, which you definitely should do voice acting in the cutscenes. They're fucking great, which we will get to. But yeah, I just thought that was a little interesting, kind of like old school PSP type of decision they would have you make. You know, I think it was like 8 gigs or something like that. Like it was reasonably.
It was 8 gigs.
Like I forgot how much the actual game is.
It would make sense, you know, that uncompressed MGS4 sound, you know, and the PSP being so limited, right?
Yeah.
But think about memory stick duo prices, and like the PSP Go had 16 gigs of installed internal memory.
That's probably why it's the option.
Yeah, right. Like at the end of the day, it's like like you know the price of a gig was much higher back in like 2007 or whenever this game came out. 2008.
Remember those Vita memory card prices, dude?
Yes, sir. Yes, we do. Yes, sir. I paid like $100 for like 32 gigs.
And it's I think it's more than that now on a secondhand market.
It's definitely more than that. Yes, sir. Definitely more than that.
Kevin, you brought up the story. This on a grand scheme, the whole gist of this is it takes place a little bit after the end of Snake Eater. Big Boss disappears. He's not calling himself Big Boss because he doesn't like this relation. He doesn't like this burden. He goes into Central America, creates the Military Sans Frontier. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Mercenaries Without Borders, I think.
Mercenaries Without Borders. Yeah. Soldiers Without Borders. Yeah.
And he's working with Kaz Miller, a character who we've heard about before, but has never actually seen in person, because when we saw Kaz Miller in Metal Gear Solid 1, it was actually Liquid. But this is where we get to see a bit of Big Boss's surrounding cast come into play, like drawing to those connections from MGS1. In Snake Eater, we saw him create a relationship with Ocelot, who we see in 1, and here we get to see the fostering of Kaz Miller and Big Boss, which I thought was interesting. How do we feel about Kaz in the game? He's kind of your right-hand man the whole time. Kevin, did you pick up on the fact that it was Kaz from MGS1?
I forgot MGS1. I remember it mentioned in MGS3, I think. I remember something about a Cos Miller for sure, but I did not remember MGS1, so that's cool as fuck. Wait, but like, so it was Liquid posing as him, right?
Yes.
To Solid Snake? Not like, okay, gotcha. Okay. I see. Yeah. That's cool.
So
that's
Did
really
they do the they don't do the remember this from Metal Gear Solid 4 at all? Do they really not?
The Tap X? No, there was
Yeah.
there was none like that. Nope.
You guys are selling me on Peace Walker. Holy shit.
There's some good flashbacks though to certain scenes for sure that we'll get to that are
Really?
beautiful.
So
Oh yeah.
the way that the majority of the story is doled out, there are some like rendered cutscenes, but the majority of it is this really great hand-drawn comic book art style. Kevin, I talked with you about this a couple weeks ago when we were playing through it, but like very much reminded me of Infamous, the original
Yes,
Infamous.
sir.
Love
Yes,
how they use
sir.
comic books in that game to tell their story. And I think, again, the limitations of the PSP, it lets you fill in a lot of the action in ways that probably would have looked way more awkward than Snake Eater if they were trying to do that on a PSP. And we got pretty stunning art out of it, so I really love the cutscenes in this game. Jack, what do you feel about the cutscenes?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think in a lot of ways, the art in this makes Peace Walker one of the most beautiful Metal Gear games.
Yeah.
And it's not going for a realistic style. It's very much the choice of, all right, we have the PSP. This isn't going to look like a beautiful game because it's a portable device. Let's just do this very striking, I believe, Yoji Shinkawa art style, which I thought of Omar when I was playing this game because I know all of us felt this way, but I think Omar in particular really missed out on the artwork from the codec stuff from Metal Gear Solid 1. And that is just the entirety of the art style in this game. It's just really striking visuals and like what Christian was saying, like in a comic book style way. I think the art's beautiful. I think the way they convey the story is very striking via the art style. I think it was an amazing choice. And I just like good art never really ages, but like if they tried to go for a realistic approach, this would have aged very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think they made a great decision, and I think the game is gorgeous because of it.
Yeah, it's really stunning. It's the best. I mean, I think I'm gonna say this for real. Like, I think this is the best way they've conveyed narrative in Metal Gear Solid. Period. I think, to be honest, like no more 25-minute codec calls of just staring at. Which, granted, MGS1 codec, very very cool, very very beautiful. Seeing those heads just talking and moving and everything. But I think with this art style, like there's just a sense of beauty here that it looks so good, and you blend that with the voice acting and just the sound and the soundtrack and the way they use certain sound effects like in it is just it's beautiful. Like the like na 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 the like weird tune that they used for the machines, I guess. Like I forgot the actual term of them, but like that is such a memorable melody and tune that like just encapsulates Peace Walker as a whole. Like I really love the way they the way they do those cutscenes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Infamous as well. Shout out to Infamous.
I definitely think it has a great style in the game. I think it doesn't have some of the personality as the codec in one. I think it's going for a different thing, but I think that's because of the tone of the story.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid 1's codecs, I think they're definitely they're iconic. Nobody's questioning that at all. But like, I do think the way that MGS1 handles its dumps of storytelling through the codec still has more of a personality that feels more Metal Gear. Where here, I think it was a great choice and it's beautiful and very artistic, and I love it here. I feel like they're going for different things, but I definitely, I think I could have used a bit more of that codec personality in some of the cutscenes, because I think a lot of it is much more of they're trying to make a moving painting, which I think is amazing, but I think some of like the comedy doesn't hit as strong as like a deadpan codec thing. But again, that's just a very minor thing I had, because I think it was, Jack, like you said, perfect choice for the story of the game.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, go ahead, Jack.
I was gonna say the game definitely takes itself a lot more seriously than previous Metal Gear games, and the way that they told the story, I think, is in line with the tone of this game. I felt like the codec began to overstay its welcome a few games into the Metal Gear series, especially Metal Gear Solid 3. Was not a fan. And I feel like the codec made for a lot of awkward instances, and I was pretty much ready for it to just, fade into the background. I think 1 and 2 are really the only games that utilize the codec in great ways. Largely because of the limitations of telling stories in games back then. But I feel like this is a really good transition. Like I said, I feel like Peace Walker is kind of a clean slate in a lot of ways, and this is one of those instances.
Sure.
I feel like, sorry, Kevin.
No, go ahead.
Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 are great with the codec because they use it to fuck with you on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
And I feel like, after 2, they've kind of done that right. It's over. You can't do it again.
Right.
Which I think, the 3 codec is just boring. For some reason, though, I feel like I can't get engaged with the comic book art style on this like I can with either regular cutscenes or just honestly, I could just stare at the codec for hours and just listen to the radio drama. But it's definitely gorgeous though, and especially I think Christian, you mentioned this about Metal Gear Solid 4 about some of those cutscenes feeling like a stage play.
Yeah.
Which I think this is kind of an improvement on that in a lot of ways,
yeah.
but even still, I feel like I'm just more engaged with seeing the CG people doing stuff. But
yeah.
So sorry, just real quick, just about the codec. Now that we're talking about it, the codec in this game, right? It's really bad, right? You can't choose who you're calling in this codec.
Yeah.
It's kind of just you just keep triggering it, and then you might get just a random person at Mother Base. Most times it's Miller, of course, but sometimes it's Amanda or I think I had Paz one time as well, or Chico, etc. But I found it very odd how you weren't able to select who you wanted to talk to. This is the worst codec for sure. The worst physical codec that we've had so far it's definitely this one. But the cutscenes, the actual cutscenes are great, obviously. And even the before and after you do a segment in the game when you're on your way back to the base or whatever, sometimes you and Miller have a conversation to kind of tee up the next mission and everything. I felt that was pretty okay, and I guess that's another aspect of the codec, I guess you can say, even though that's not a controllable aspect necessarily, but the controllable physical aspect of the codec I thought was really bad in this game. But
about the story as a whole, I don't think it's anything revolutionary, and we don't have to pick apart the story. I think it does its job. There's this mystery of the boss's voice showing up, but it's actually an AI, and
see, that isn't a mystery to me, or I feel like that doesn't hook me the way I want it to.
Okay.
Or at the beginning of the game, it's Naked Snake, after shooting the boss in the face, it's the boss is still alive. I can't buy it. I can't buy into it. It's not a major issue, but it's a bit of a nitpick, I guess. It's I feel like as a conceit for why he wants to get into some of this, it's a little lame.
I mean, the last game we saw him in, he dealt with a ghost many times, and he got shot through the eye. So
very true, Christian.
That's what I totally get that, Omar. Because I even saw some tweets when I was talking about the game on Twitter as I was playing it. Some people, I see a lot of people tweet at me having a problem with they just couldn't get behind why would Snake think that the boss is alive? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But
sure.
I don't know. I kind of just backed up and just try to view it from his point of view. that was a very traumatic like thing that happened,
Yeah.
right? And like, he has questions about like did she really defect, and like, she, and like it's clear that, at least how I interpret it, that like Snake hasn't really dealt with losing the boss
Yeah.
on a very core fundamental emotional level,
Mm-hmm.
which would make him just grab onto anything as like a weak point, and would make him act a little bit less level-headed than he would normally, or like less rational than he would normally. So like for me, it kind of worked out, just a sense of like a way that, you know he has to see what is up with this, I think, as a part of like a grieving process for him internally. um but yeah, like I hear you, like it's a little bit weird for Snake to assume that, oh, okay, the boss's voice, that must mean that she's alive, or like that to be like one of his things that he would think about could possibly be the case, so I hear you, but it worked for me. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like sorry, Jack. Just real quick. Like I just feel like there's no possible answer to the whole boss mystery that would have satisfied me in this game. That they open up, like if she was alive, or she ends up being like an AI, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Which
all right.
I think the AI call is interesting just because it's helping lay the foundation for where the series goes, and I think that's an interesting choice, but
it's doing that backwards though, right?
Yeah, but it just like
Okay.
it's still bridging that gap that exists that we talked a lot about before with Big Boss. So just like you're making a lot of leaps from Snake Eater to all this shit. So like I do think retroactively like putting that point in here and tying it to him is interesting, because personally I like where we explore Big Boss in the game. Like if we had to do that through him thinking the boss might still be alive, it's silly, but I'm fine with it, because for me the story is less about what's actually going on and more about me seeing Big Boss grow, because we talked about this a lot with Snake Eater, and Jack, I remember you heavily being a vocal critic. We all were, but I remember you very, very vocally being a critic of Naked Snake in 3. I think we can all agree that the story's kind of whatever, but it's in service of Big Boss. So at the end of this game, how did you feel about Big Boss compared to Snake Eater?
Well, I was gonna say about the boss being in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that ties into your question too. I definitely appreciate Naked Snake / Big Boss much more in this game than I did in Metal Gear Solid 3. You're kind of like supposed to not like him throughout the whole run through of Metal Gear Solid 3 in a way, which is fine. I know that's the intent. It doesn't really work for me.
Yeah.
But at the very end of that game, like what I think we all were saying, the inklings of transitioning from Metal Gear Solid 3 onward after the events of that with the boss was an interesting proposition for Naked Snake. And I really appreciate that you get the sense that once Big Boss realizes everything that he did and all of his actions after Eva tells him that, he feels probably very regretful. And I like how the possibility of the boss being alive gets him to do the action of this game, because he's probably thinking, I made a mistake, or I didn't have all the knowledge necessary before doing what I did. So I did appreciate that he like goes on this mission because he has the chance to sort of, talk to the boss again if he wanted to. And I really like that. I feel like you do get some character growth for Big Boss in this that obviously you didn't get in Metal Gear Solid 3, but at the same point, I was confused at the very end of this game, because I feel like Metal Gear is one of those series where a character can just come out of the blue and say something and just be like, this is my character now. Where the boss goes through this, and then in the very end, like after the credits, he's like, oh, I felt betrayed by the boss for laying down her gun because she chose not to be a soldier, even though she just saved the entire world. Mm-hmm. And then he takes the Big Boss title because he feels scorned by the boss. I really feel like just one of those series where they could be like, character said something now. I don't think it was very developed very much, and that's just how the character is now. Mm. So some things I liked about Big Boss's character, I was somewhat confused by the end. I felt that was kind of out of the blue. I get it.
Sure.
I get that he wants to be a soldier, but I just don't see how he can look at what the boss did and feel that way. I found that a little confusing.
Yeah, because
True. Yeah.
we know
Sorry.
from 4, like, him and Zero both had misinterpretations of everything, so I guess you can justify it that way, but you're right, they definitely don't develop that line of thought much. I will say, though, because in all of Snake Eater, I was talking about how I remembered liking Big Boss. Seeing the end of this game, I think, especially now, I really like the role Big Boss plays in the series, and like seeing him specifically in that role I really enjoy, but as a character he's still not like in the top 3, I'd say. So
He's kind of a blank slate in a lot of ways.
yeah. Kevin, what do you think about the story for him?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, like, Big Boss, I mean, Snake, I guess, throughout the majority of the game, really took a really, really good turn with me, specifically. Like, I did not like him as Naked Snake, did not like him in MGS3 either, for the most part. But here, like, when he's having conversations with, like, Amanda and Chico and Paz and everyone, and, like, Miller as well, and, the boss as well in some cases in the game, like Huey, like I feel like the way he's conversating with these people feels different than Solid Snake, but it's a fresh and good take that I appreciated from him in this game. I really, really grew to like him a lot in this game, and like it got me excited to actually see where he goes in Ground Zeroes, and where he's going to go in MGS 5. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like I'm hyped to see that character progress and see what's going on. Where like at the end of MGS 3, I could really care less like where he went, to be honest. Like I was not enthused to like see where he went after. I did like the very emotional parts of Big Boss when like there were points of like very high tense situations where he's screaming, like, and there's like a sense of like real raw emotion that like I feel like we got like hints of it with Solid Snake in some ways, but like I feel like it's a lot more with Big Boss. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but like I feel like Big Boss is definitely much more of like an emotional person, not even in terms of like sadness, but just in terms of just raw, just the wide spectrum of just emotions. Like I feel like Big Boss is a more emotional character, which I think worked for me in terms of just different aspects where he was dealing with something that was very, very bad, or like, or or senses of like desperation, where like, yeah, he is this legendary hero, he's very capable, but like when something happens where it's a little over his head, like it's cool to see a hero like freak out a little bit,
Right.
and like act in like a very, way that you wouldn't expect a hero to act,
and-
like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, because I think part of that is also that Big Boss is the villain of many of the games, so we have to get to that point, and I think that's a way to show that for sure.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, Kevin.
Yes, absolutely.
How much of this newfound appreciation for Big Boss is tied to the performance?
A lot.
From David
A
Hayter?
lot.
Okay.
A lot. That's why.
We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
I just want to
that's
ask.
why it's like, damn, because he's so fucking good in this game. Like voice acting. Like I feel like he did a great job. Like leaps and bounds. But like I know we talked about here that like he was given a specific direction to take with Naked Snake that was a bit of a questionable decision whether it was intentional or not. That's just how it was, right? But whatever he was given here, like that was A plus, cream of the crop for me. Like I think he did such a good job. Like when he's having these little conversations and like when he's and like there's a little bit of like I forgot what it was, like it was that French woman. What was her name? Do you guys remember?
Was it the doctor?
I think it was the doctor. It was
Strangelove?
no. It was a woman that
He studied birds.
Huh?
She studied birds.
Yeah, that woman. I forgot what her name is, but her, right? Like, there's like that one like cheeky comment that he makes with Miller, where like Miller's like, like I don't know, like there's not a lot of room on Mother Base to take just a civilian, whatever. And then he goes, oh, like she's a hot French lady, you know what I'm saying? And like that's what makes Miller say, okay, all right, let's bring him on. Like, there's a little bit of that doesn't age gracefully, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But like overall, I think his interactions with different characters really, really was a good job. Yeah, like definitely a lot of it is performance for sure.
In the first 10 minutes of the game, you can zoom through Paz's layers of clothing.
That too,
child.
yeah.
So
I forgot about that. Yeah, that too. I was like, wait,
there's even worse stuff you can do.
Yeah, there is.
Oh damn, is there?
Oh
shit.
Man, honestly, like I feel like Big Boss is worse here than he was in Metal Gear Solid 3 in terms of being like a perv. Like,
oh well, then I rest my case. Maybe I just didn't like do what you.
No, I mean he might be a great character in terms of like everything else. I'm sorry, but just like Metal Gear Solid 3, like we were talking about like how he hits on paramedic, and like this one he's like, how old is Paz even? I don't know.
She's like 17, I think. Actually,
yeah.
I think she might be lying about her age in the very end, but she's presented as a 17-year-old person.
Interesting.
I will say I really appreciate how Big Boss feels like a leader in this.
Yeah.
And with every character he meets, like what you guys are saying, he feels like very caring. Like with Chico or Amanda, or Huey, anytime he meets someone, he's not dismissive of them. Which I feel like it's very different from how his character was in 3. Like he's adopted this identity as the leader of Mother Base, and I feel like he really acts like it, and he's not that sort of like stubborn, sort of dismissive person he was in Metal Gear Solid 3 with his codec crew. He's much more accepting and like willing to like sort of lead people along the right path. So I feel like there's definitely a leap in terms of his character. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, one more thing while we're talking about characters, I did mention this to Christian, I think, on Gamescast, or maybe like offline, like I forgot which one, but they have so we're in South America, right? We have characters like Chico, like Amanda as well, that like are supposed to be Hispanic, but their voice actors definitely sound Hispanic. Not sure what their ethnicity is, but that checks out, all good. But when you look at like when you go to the actual like like full color face of them, they're pitch white, blonde hair, and it's like, I'm not saying every Hispanic does not have very, very light skin and blonde hair. That can definitely happen, but like I feel like that one was like I don't know, like like that. Like I wish they looked a little bit more Hispanic, right? Like just what you would imagine on the general basis, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Like even I'm not the darkest person ever, but you know what I'm saying? Like from a general standpoint, I thought that was a little bit of a mismark, just in their design, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and that reminds me of Uncharted 4 with I'm forgetting the character's name, but she's from South Africa and she's a black woman, and she's voiced by Laura Bailey.
Yeah.
And
right.
It's just like it's just obviously not a good thing, and games and TV shows that are animated just continue to do that, and it's just not good.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I do want to ask Omar a question about the voice acting, because I know you've seen some of the game. I know we were all a critic of David Hayter in 3. Do you think his performance in this one's any better? And I need to know, what does Omar Nakvi think about Huey?
Huey?
Yeah.
A homie.
Fucking hate Huey, dude. But I can't. Wow. Look, why? He just puts Otacon in the game. I don't know. I feel like.
No, I agree with you. It's stupid.
Like,
really?
I'm not a Huey fan. I'm sorry, man.
I did find it a little bit odd that like it's the same voice actor, right, as Otacon, for sure. Like I think they could have done a different voice actor to kind of make him have a more distinct, personalized voice. I totally get that, but like I don't know, man. Like I'm a fucking Otacon stan. You know what I'm saying? No, like that's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So like I mean, it was cool to hear
Do you
both
remember what
David
happens to
Hayter.
Huey, dude? Do you remember what Huey does? I think they say it in Metal Gear Solid 2, but maybe it's a different Huey. I can't remember.
Oh wait, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, I know Olegon talks about his dad like being,
I'm
ending
not
up
saying
doing
that's
some
like
bad
against his
shit, right?
character, but like, what was that?
Like, because
My head's kind of
wasn't
fucked up. I honestly can't remember what Huey did in this one. Maybe later games.
Does-
But
It's later, I think.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
it is. Okay, gotcha.
But yeah,
But-
like it's stupid. Like they explain, like the big boss Snake thing's cheeky and fun because it's like, oh, they cloned him. That's why it's the same voice actor. Here, it's like,
right, yeah.
I don't sound like my dad. Like I don't think any of us sounds like our dad. Like
No.
that's not how anything works. It's stupid. It's Metal Gear, whatever. But
I think it makes the universe smaller, right?
yeah, I knew you would hate
don't
it.
need it.
I need to hear it.
That's okay. Can I mention a few bullet points before we run off here?
Sure.
Or whatever. There's a couple things I wanted to say. I really like that the theory, the whole deterrence thing this game has going for it. I don't know if we
Fucking
talked about
love
that.
Yeah, it's cool.
But it's
fucking
really
loved it.
neat. Yeah,
loved
I
it.
think
I loved it.
it makes you think like the only way is to have a nuke myself, huh? Like I get it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Like it was the first time where I'm like, I actually kind of see what what Doctor Strangelove like is like. Did I say Doctor Strangelove? That's his
right,
name, right?
it's
Doctor
right,
yeah,
yeah.
it is. Okay,
Oh,
like
you're thinking of Hot Coldman.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh yeah, like
Another
it-
bullet point.
like when he's explaining nuclear deterrence theory and all that, and it's like, okay, like I guess it does make sense to develop like a Peace Walker type thing where it's like no matter what, there's no human element of like thinking that, okay, if I launch this nuke, I'm ending human civilization, right? Like this Peace Walker is just going to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
the whole using
Yeah.
the boss's brain because she was dedicated to the mission no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I think they justify
Exactly.
all these choices in some really like cool, fun ways. And I do, Omar, you're right. I love the whole deterrence theme this game has. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's
The
cool.
peace
Yeah.
theme, everything. I love all of that.
It's really cool.
Right.
It's really cool.
There's a song called Love Deterrence, right? I think that one's pretty good.
I think so.
I can't remember.
Heaven's Divide is this one too, right?
Yes. There's
Yeah.
some good music in this one.
Love it.
There's some good
um,
music in here.
There another thing, Jack just mentioned it, but Hot Cold Man, just as a name, maybe Kojima's best name ever. I don't know. It has to be.
Is that
Cold
is,
Man.
Is Die Hardman right behind it?
Yes, but behind it.
Yes. Okay.
But up there. Another thing I don't think we mentioned, and Christian was talking about this game taking itself more seriously, I think, at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the game that has Fultoning in it, right? Is that in this?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
No.
meant more of like
Hey,
it's
No.
narrative. I think
Sure.
there's absolutely Metal Gear Solid humor in here, way more than 3. I just think
Yes.
within the cutscenes, the humor doesn't hit because they're going for a very serious tone, a very straightforward story.
That's fair. I just want to say I fucking love Fultoning.
Yeah,
I think it's
Fultoning's
the
amazing.
funniest
I love
shit
it.
ever.
That's awesome.
Like, I think Metal Gear Solid 1 is funny. Metal Gear Solid 2, I think, is hilarious. And then I don't think the games are that funny anymore. But this one, I just think the concept of Fultoning is just so goofy that I'm happy
Like-
it's in here.
To be clear, the Fulton recovery system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they like
Okay.
launch into a balloon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that
Or-
that is so that is so satisfying to me. Like it's
Yeah.
dumb, it's really stupid, but like I fucking love it. And like
Kevin-
I love when like a big boss is like, "Hey, like you ever fallen on a balloon?" And the guy's like, "What? No." And it just shoots off. Like it's fucking cool, man. It's fucking cool.
And Ken, we've talked about the sound design, right, with the little clicks and stuff. I believe the Fultoning sound is like incredible.
Such a good sound, bro. It's so
Yeah.
satisfying, man. I love it. Also, it's like sometimes you can, well, no, like not even sometimes you can do Fulton when you're underground, like when there's clearly like a roof over. So it's like, okay,
That's
fuck
right.
it. Like, all right, they're gone. Somehow
Yeah.
they're just gone.
Can- Continuing our discussion about The Dark Knight and Christopher Nolan's amazing trilogy, third one being the best, obviously, took some notes from The Dark Knight and was like, hey, Fulton Recovery,
Yeah.
Kojima watch that movie, big film head, and was like, that's a cool thing. I want Batman in my game. Next best thing, balloons that launch into the sky.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
appreciate
Was
that.
Fultoning in the
It was
Dark
in the
Knight
Dark
movies?
Knight, Omar. Remember when we went
Really?
to Hong Kong? Eddie infiltrated that
Oh,
thing. And
yeah.
he threw it on
He
the
had
guy.
the lights on the balloon, and the big jet came through and like had like little scissor arms that picked him up. Very cool.
Jack, you ruined this for me. I'm sure Kojima saw Dark Knight and he's like, this is genius.
Of course he did.
Like, oh,
This is
man.
genius.
Hey, he wasn't wrong.
No, he's not.
Sword.
Like-
No, one of the best parts of this game, gameplay wise.
And I hope it's not the last we've seen of Fulton recovery system. I don't know if that's true or not, but I really want that in the future. Hopefully we get that.
So
I gotta play Peace Walker. You guys have sold me.
yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry.
fucking great,
Like,
man. It's fucking great.
I am, like I said, I'm planning on finishing it because we're taking some time to do Metal Gear Solid 5. I'll wrap up Peace Walker before I kick off 5 for sure. And I do think that will impact my ranking after the fact. I did place it, so why don't we bring up personal rankings, and then we will do the show panel ranking, and then we'll wrap up with final thoughts on Peace Walker and sign off. Omar, do you
I'm
have a
probably gonna
ranking?
abstain, right?
Okay.
No, I think I gotta
Okay.
just, you know.
So I'll do mine first, just because I know mine's gonna change, and I'm gonna defer, I think, to Jack and Kevin for the most part for this. But as it stands at the moment, last place I have Snake Eater. That is 5th place. 4th place I have Metal Gear Solid 4. 3rd place I have Peace Walker. 2nd place I have Metal Gear Solid, and then 1st place I have Metal Gear Solid 2. Again, I love how this game plays. I'm very nostalgic for MGS1. I could see a world where once I beat it, I could put it above MGS1, but as it stands, 8 hours deep, my criticisms I have of the game, and how much I love MGS1, I feel pretty good about it in 3rd place for me. So, Jack, what's your ranking look like?
I'm in a similar situation with you. So at number 5, I have Metal Gear Solid 3. At number 4, I have Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Number 3, Metal Gear Solid 1. Number 2, Metal Gear Solid 4. And number 1, Metal Gear Solid 2. I really enjoyed playing Peace Walker. It's sad to see it like so low on the list, but I think I really just have a deep love for Metal Gear Solid 1, 4, and 2. 4 I feel like could be replaced by 1 for the number 2 spot. But yeah, I really enjoy Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I think it's leagues above Metal Gear Solid 3 in my opinion. Also a really great podcast game. I never mentioned that, but it's just one of those jump in, jump out. If you want to do some side ops with some stuff in the background, go for it. I think it's great. I don't think it's anywhere close to Metal Gear Solid 3, so it's just kind of sad seeing it down there at the bottom of the list. But I think it's great.
That's why when rankings we can use a bunch of carrots or whatever the equals less than. Just put like 15 of those on there between 3 and Peace Walker.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Totally.
A friend of mine is going through the MCU right now, and he has his rankings. Then he has, at the very bottom, he has Diarrhea, and right below that, the Incredible Hulk. So we could just do that.
Wow.
Damn.
Before we get to Kevin's ranking here, Christian,
Yes.
I would like to talk to you personally.
Okay.
So I think this has stayed in my mind a little bit, and it's up to you. It's your ranking, but I remember you saying that you like Metal Gear Solid 2 in the same way you think Dark Knight is a better movie than Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you, and I know that despite thinking that Batman Begins is your preferred Christopher Nolan Batman movie,
Yes.
so would you not put Metal Gear Solid over Metal Gear Solid 2 here too?
I
Or
think
is it a different kind of thing?
it's slightly different because I think Metal Gear Solid 2 reaches for the moon in every single way, and it achieves it in every single way, and it is a more refined playing Metal Gear Solid 1, despite, like, even though I love how wild MGS2 gets, MGS1, like, there's something so satisfying and so just, like, warming of my heart about the scenario, how constrained it is, how simple it is. So, like, I don't think MGS1 is ever going to leave 2nd place. And there's a world where the more I think about it, I could put it above 2, I think, but I do think 2 is just more ambitious, and it lands its ambition, so I respect it for that. And I do love 2, and I love Raiden. Raiden's my favorite character, so there's a lot of reasons I love 2.
Oh, no, I was making sure you're making the following your heart, I guess.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just that's cool. That's
And-
cool.
We mentioned it before, but these can change in the future, personal rankings for sure, but Kevin's sure has. So, Kevin, here, let's go. What is your ranking at the moment?
Damn it, mine's really tough. Like, I think I spent a lot of time like coming into this like thinking that Peace Walker might be my favorite, but like when I actually sit down, right, when I actually look at the list, remember the good times, right, that we've had on this journey.
Don't let us bully you.
No, yeah.
Follow
No,
your
no,
heart.
I know, yeah, I know,
We have
and
the
like
group
I am really
ranking to
positive.
bully you on. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I am really positive about it, but like I think I gonna have to just kind of recourse and recoil, you know what I'm saying, on like some decisions. So I think I'm landing on we're gonna have Metal Gear Solid 3 at number 5, right, for sure. Right. A large gap, okay? And then we're gonna put Metal Gear Solid 2, which hurts, but it is what it is. And then Peace Walker is just right above it, just right above it, just for me personally, right? So I think we're gonna do Metal Gear Solid 2 at number 4, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker at number 3, and then MGS 1 at number 2, and then MGS 4 at number 1. But that one's a tough. This one is a really really tough list, but that's where I'm gonna leave it. I won't give too much thought about it until we're done with, Ground Zeroes and MGS 5 and everything. But
Sure.
we're gonna keep it there. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as it stands, the group ranking is 4th place Metal Gear Solid 3, 3rd place Metal Gear Solid 4, 2nd place Metal Gear Solid, and then 1st place Metal Gear Solid 2. I don't know how the hell the math would work out here, but it's at the very least it's 4th. It's not worse than Metal Gear Solid 3. We're all on that page, right? We all
It's-
there.
That's a good
Yeah,
starting point.
it's
Think
definitely better
about
than
this. All right. Metal Gear Solid 3. I think it's cool that Naked Snake is like kind of a blank slate that gets a little fucked up when he sees something that goes a bit wrong. It could have happened to us. Could have happened to anyone.
I mean, you're right.
I know he has like
could've-
a little lacking on personality, but I think there's something cool there. But yeah, no, there's a lot of shit too.
No, I hear you.
but,
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
okay.
Wait. Read the ranking one more time. Is it 2, 1, 4, 3?
2, 1, 4, 3, from top to bottom.
I know on my ranking it's not on it, but I would put Peace Walker in between 1 and 4.
Jack, how do you feel about that?
I think that's where I would comfortably put it, I think.
Because
But also I could see right below 4, to be honest.
yeah, because in my ranking, mine's pretty similar. I mean, mine's exactly similar as the list. It's 1, 2, 4, 3, and I put Peace Walker between 1 and 4 as well. Jack, how do you feel about this? Because I know you really love 4. And Kevin
Yeah,
does too,
so
I really love 4. Yeah, I do. I do love 4.
yeah. So for me, I would put it between 3 and 4, for the number 4 spot.
Okay.
But I totally can see a world where this is below Metal Gear Solid 1 and above Metal Gear Solid 4.
Well, I mean, sorry to cut you off, but if you and Kevin both put it below 4, like, I would disagree with it, but I'd be outvoted at that point, and I know Omar is abstaining, so, like...
Yeah.
Are you saying? Wait, I'm just kind of curious. Are you saying this is worse, or that's below 4, as in this Peace Walker is better than 4, or
No, 4 would be ranked higher in the group
than
ranking,
Peace Walker?
just because Jack and Kevin have it so high, which I'm fair. It's fair. We have our personal rankings, but
Yeah, I'll say
Yeah.
this: I won't cause a fight, assuming 1 and 2 are still in the first top 2 spots.
yeah, I don't think that's.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
All
that's a
right.
consideration.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fight, gentlemen.
We might have some words in a month or so, but
Yeah.
right now,
No, we fucking won't.
certainly might.
I think the real boiled down question is like, is this game better or worse than MGS4?
So
Go ahead.
let me just throw out why I would make a case for it above 4, because I know both of you rank 4 higher. I think where 3 consolidated, stripped it down, made a very simple story, it was a detriment. I think it's an advantage here. And that is very much not what 4 does. I think in a lot of ways some of the gameplay is a progression from 4, but I don't think this game's highs are ever as high as the highs in 4. 4 definitely has lower lows. I think this game's just consistent. So I would maybe give it an edge that way, but I definitely can understand and hear and would be cool with the highs of 4 and how it plays and the enjoyment you two have out of it as making it higher than this game. You two can go from there with that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
For me, the worst part about MGS4 is that Act 5. I think that Act 5 like really just hurts the overall game, and it maybe being, it being like the last of the game really does hurt it when you look back on it as a whole as being like the latest thing that you know, experience in the game. Act 5 just really, I think, fell apart for me overall. But dude, Act 1 through 4, I was fucking loving it. I was really in it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think I had a moment where I'm like, oh, like Peace Walker, okay, like this isn't like the most hype thing I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like this isn't like driving me. Like, I feel consistently that like it was interesting throughout the entire game. I never felt that like it was, necessarily like there was like a lull period. The last boss fight you do was pretty challenging, and it was just a means of just like playing on the PSP, well, on the Vita. Like it was hard to do that fight overall. It took definitely a while, but I was still enjoying myself. You know what I'm saying? So, damn.
Jack, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Let me hear Jack out. Yeah,
Point,
let me hear Jack out. Go ahead.
So it's hard for me really to defend 4 because I just see so much wrong with it. But the reason why I like it is because I think more so than any other Metal Gear game, it's a love letter to the series, and in a lot of instances that doesn't work. In a lot of instances it does though. And I feel like the gameplay was so immaculate in that game compared to anything else we've played so far up to that point. And like what Kevin and Chris were saying, I feel like 4 had a lot of low valleys and high peaks where there are some great points to that game and there's some just utterly baffling stuff. Whereas Peace Walker was more of a plateau. Like, I didn't really feel any strong emotions towards it throughout the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot I appreciated about it, but there wasn't anything I really loved compared to Metal Gear Solid 4. But conversely, there wasn't really anything I hated compared to Metal Gear Solid 4. But between the two games, I would say 4. I feel like for me, it's more of a Metal Gear game. It's the one I think of more often, even after playing this. I do love the gameplay loop in this. In a lot of instances, I feel like it shot for something it didn't necessarily achieve this go around. In terms of the like gameplay and mother-based stuff. So I would put 4 above it, but like I don't think I strongly feel that way. I wouldn't be upset if Peace Walker was above 4.
I mean,
so that's me very badly fighting for 4.
I'm inclined to just listen to the two of you because I also didn't beat the game, so like I could grow tired of this because I'm definitely with you, Jack. It is a plateau. And Kevin, I know you also love 4, so like if you guys want to put this at 4th place, I'll sleep fine tonight. Like
let's do it at 4, but just know within the panel that it's very very close. Like
sure.
like they're right, they're next to each other. They're right there.
What do you think is more impressive? Metal Gear Solid 4 being a PS3 game from 2008, or Peace Walker being a PSP game?
Peace Walker being a PSP game, I think is more impressive to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Metal Gear Solid 4, like definitely felt like a 2008, 2009 PS3 game to me. It definitely felt that way. Like its differences went in like how it presented itself in certain ways. I feel like we're definitely original, and that's where we have the Kojima flavor, I guess you could say, in there. But I feel like I was more impressed for sure by Peace Walker as a PSP game, for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Nice. Well, officially the group ranking after Peace Walker is 5th place Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, 4th place Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, 3rd place Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, 2nd place Metal Gear Solid the original, and 1st place Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. That is Peace Walker. The next time you see us will be a week from now. We will be discussing Ground Zeroes, the prequel to Metal Gear Solid 5. And then we'll be dipping out for a couple weeks just so we can all play all of 5, Phantom Pain, reconvene the way we did with Peace Walker, and have a just grand discussion about the whole game. Because 5, very similar to this game, it's hard to chunk out in a weekly format. There's a lot more investment here. There's easy ways to get sidetracked. So 5 is going to be its own beast of an episode. So look forward to that sometime around the end of June. But in the meantime, we can sign off the way we normally do. I don't know if it would be honest to do thoughts of the next game because we've already played Ground Zeroes as of this recording. So any final words on Peace Walker? Shout out what you want to shout out. And yeah, Jack, let's start with you. Top left.
Sure. So you can follow me on Twitter at Fascinated Jack. Chris and I also have a Marvel's Avengers podcast called Excelsior. Square Enix just announced that the Black Panther expansion is going to be detailed at their Square Enix Presents at E3. So if you're looking forward to that, like we are, you can tune into Excelsior on youtube.com/joyclicks. I was pretty impressed by this game, honestly. Like what you guys were just saying, I think it's very impressive that this is a Metal Gear game on a Portal device, and I feel like it makes really great strides in trying to compare itself to other Metal Gear games. In a lot of ways, it achieves that. I felt that the gameplay was a little bit simple in a lot of ways, but was fleshed out because of some of the mother-based mechanics. I think for me, though, the main draw was the absolutely gorgeous artwork, and I feel like it's probably the most interesting way to tell the Metal Gear Solid story yet. And I feel like this is an overlooked one because of the platform it was on, but I feel like it's very important to the Metal Gear genre or Metal Gear series as a whole, and totally worthy of being played. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Very nice. Omar, let's hear it.
I have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ohmsachef. I'm still playing Kingdom Hearts. I'm in the deep jungle right now. Check it out. I didn't play Peace Walker. I'm sorry. Soon, maybe. I don't know.
Kevin, let's hear it.
Peace Walker's great. Don't overlook it just because it's a PSP game, I promise. And if you're really, too like, oh, I don't want to play a PSP game, and maybe you don't have a Vita, right? You know what I'm saying? I understand. Play the PS3 one, because that one's in 60 frames. That one looks hella good. Looks hella good. But yeah, like it is really surprising that they put such an integral, like, game in the series on handheld, right? Because like I don't know how someone plays Ground Zeroes and understands what's going on. Like I don't. Yeah, like you need to play Peace Walker. Like I can imagine someone being super lost playing Ground Zeroes, not knowing who, certain characters are that end up being in Ground Zeroes for sure. So definitely, it's highly recommend. I really enjoyed it. Love the story. Love different elements about it. David Hayer's voice acting is incredible in this game. Very much enjoyed it. And you can catch me on youtube.com as a PlayStation Source. We're gearing up to release a Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Definitely, we got that going on. We're going to do a stream series on that. Road to Rift Apart still going on. David K is coming on next week. Hype for that as well. All that great stuff is happening. A lot of PlayStation news as well in the news lately. So that's being covered on the channel for sure. And yeah, Twitter at PA Source Vids, and any of our E3 coverage I will be on with JoyClicks as well. Check it back here for all of that. Gamescast as well. So yeah, all the good stuff right there.
Very nice. Yeah, Peace Walker is a good game, and I like the foundation it laid for the future. That's all I'll say. You can follow me Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at ShunTD2, as well as here youtube.com/joyclicks for the video version of this show, alongside all of our other shows that we brought up. I will say this is coming out the week before E3, so later this week, you will see Nintendo predictions with myself, Omar, and Twinfinite's Charlie Wackles. So look forward to that sometime this week. What else is going on this week? Like Kevin said, lots of E3 stuff. We're going to be watching Keeley's Summer Game Fest on Thursday. By the time this is up, the second Hall of Game ceremony will have happened. So if you're curious about the games we think are the greatest of all time, is a Metal Gear one of them? Who knows? tune in, find out. If you want the audio version of the show, you can check it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you appreciate listening, it'd be appreciated from us if you gave it a rating or review. And if you want to get involved further on a monetary level, $1, $5 tier at patreon.com/joyclicks. $5 is producer credit like Chris Sakis and Aaron Easton, so thank you very much. That is Peace Walker. We will be back for Ground Zeroes next week. Omar.
I forgot to mention one thing, but Kevin, when he was talking about, I can't believe they put a game this integral on the PSP. I don't know if we talked about this, but this game was called Metal Gear Solid 5 Peace Walker for like a while in its development.
Yeah,
it was literally called Metal Gear Solid 5. Yeah.
So, shit.
In the research I did before recording today, there's a quote from Kojima that said, "Peace Walker is the Metal Gear Solid 5 in my heart." That's how he thinks of this game.
Wow.
That's why Ground Zeroes is Metal Gear Solid V.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We get the number 5 all the time. We get number 4, 3. Metal Gear Solid V.
Holy shit.
So, there we
I
go.
didn't even see that. Oh my god. Listen,
Hey, V, peace. Peace.
the
Peace.
the more we continue, man, the more we continue, like Kojima really is a legend, bro. Like he's really goated. Like
He's a bit of a pervert, but yeah. He's
a little bit of a pervert. I would consider Metal Gear Solid still like almost borderline stupid. Like it's right there, but goddamn.